Hi, Aquarius. Before we get into it, I'm doing your reading first. I'm just being very called to, there's very specific things that are, that are just drawing me to your reading first this month. You have the full moon this week. And before we get into it, I also will have links below to work with me one-on-one, which is a personal one-on-one Zoom. Everything will be under there below. And links where you can donate to the channel if this is something that helps you and you want to keep going, as well as links to Patreon where I do an extended reading of this general reading, so we get deeper into the reading and I clarify with more questions, which is usually at over 10 minutes long. And then you'll find other things over on Patreon as well. And yeah, that's it for now before we get into the reading. So for you, it's kind of, there's this straightforward sense this month. And I also just want to say that I feel like sometimes you guys are like an afterthought at times, or maybe feel that way. And another reason why I really want to do your reading first is because you're not. And this month more than ever, that's going to come out of you, or may come out of you. You may find yourself a lot more willing to be social, a lot more outside of yourself in ways that we wouldn't know unless you showed us. So like we were waiting for you to show us, and then when we see it, it's like, oh, I want to know more. I want to keep this going, like, don't go away. So there's this warmth that's coming like through you and over you this month for Leo season. Not that you're not normally a warm person, and I'm not saying that. It's more just like your desire or your need for the warmth, it's just going to show up for you. It's a sense of fulfillment. Hold on, I dropped a card. So this warmth that's coming over you, and the card I dropped was the Queen of Wands. So this warmth, this connection, this reconnection, even with people that you are used to feeling this with, also breeds more people that you didn't know or just weren't looking for. It just comes out of nowhere, where you just receive this warmth, this energy, this infusion of passion, which helps influence passion, especially if, yes, you know what you want, and you may know the direction that you're headed, but there's also a lot to learn because of Saturn being in your sign. And this full moon is going to bring the fulfillment in the places that you're going to be able to fill up with this feeling, this energy. And of course, that's going to show you where you feel like you're lacking. But the beautiful thing about it is that this month you have the energy, the desire, and this patience about you, where you're just so in summer. And so being that that's where you are, you realize that it's within your control this month. That if it's something that you want, Leo season's happy to give it to you. It's just not doubting that that's what you're going to receive. It's understanding that whatever you get in your head about, whatever you fixate on about yourself, is like, no, like this season you get to experience more. You get to have adventures. You get to have the other opportunities come along your way to socialize, to be yourself, to be outgoing, to show these different parts of yourself where people aren't used to this like warmth that comes from you so naturally. Like you're just in a mode where like you might want to just show it really freely. And Leo season's like, yeah, like this is what we want to do too. And what this causes from you is this like gentle opening as if it's the antidote to what you've needed. And that's what I love, is like when the cards come out, yes, there may be issues or problems or different placements in the stars and different things going on in like every different sign's life, but there's always this like, but if you add a little this could be helpful this month. So when this arises, and if this arises, there's this other thing here that you can lean into if you're willing to. And Leo's showing up also very strong. So if there's a Leo in your life, and if they're the person that is feeling maybe doubtful or unseen, which I highly doubt, but if there is a Leo who is feeling that way, show them some love. However, I do feel like this is the strength of you that's coming out. This could also be the Leos being upset that their reading's not first, but I feel like that's where they're not in that place right now. There's like a different thing. Sorry, I keep moving this. So your ability to to direct, almost to see from afar everything that's going on, all the possibilities. You know what's happening, you know what you want in terms of, I know what I want here, but whatever happens in between, I'm cool with too. So because you're at that place where like Saturn is going to be working through these different parts through you, depending on where Aquarius is in your chart, what you're going to begin to realize, because you get things so quickly, even if you haven't seen this already, is that you're going to see a pattern that which Saturn acts on, because Saturn is more predictable. It's very slow. And I also have a story for you about that too. But first, it's where it's slowing you down. Not that you're not a methodical sign, not that you act impulsively to an extent, but this is like risk taking creatively, especially if you're someone who's taking on different endeavors or different roles. But even just in your day-to-day life, finding this creative spark and this passion is something maybe you've been lacking. And Leo season, through connections and this warmth and this surge of energy you could be feeling more and more every day, is this awakening to another passion in your life that's igniting something that maybe has been gone for a while and is now back. And it's also a place where you can make extra income if you want, but you're going to reap benefits from it. And so if you've been worried, or if you've been in a rut or something like that, for any of the artists or people who consider themselves creators, we all are, but this is very much for you, where this spark, this energy, letting this feeling of fulfillment and letting this attention that you're getting and receiving more and more, because you may be even glowing. This full moon has you glowing and seeing all the parts that are fulfilled, which will also leave you seeing what is not as fulfilled. Though, again, with the Saturn, like this metaphor I want you to remember is that when it's working on one thing throughout one time, it's going to consistently work on everything else too. So it's the same. It's just putting it into that context for you. Feels like so long. This is so interesting, because I was just reading about a certain interpretation of the Hanged Man, which I actually think is relevant for you guys. So I'm going to give you a little bit of it. So the Hanged Man is, and I think for you, this is very perfect. So much will happen with you this month in terms of externally, but it will feel like a nice, slow, luxurious month, which is how I hope most people take it, because Cancer season can feel like it's whipping us back and forth of like this and this and this and like, okay, tired, and this and this and this. Like, you can't sleep, like the moon's going, and it's just the waves. And okay, we're just like, okay, Leo season's here. Can we just like sit around the bonfire for a little bit, chill out, maybe tell some stories? Like, can we just like do something a little different? So you're totally down for that. And the thing is like, through all of this, the conceptualization, which I'm talking about, is very much the Hangman, but this is also understanding that sometimes things end abruptly. Sometimes things change or shift abruptly, and it feels rather violent in order to create new. And it's very Virgo. So also this Mars moving into Virgo very soon. Venus moved into Virgo right before Leo season started, the day before. So this connection, this feeling, this passion is going to help heal certain parts of you, especially through your love and your financial, in terms of Jupiter. And Jupiter going into your sign and going retrograde too is going to help you understand where you've maybe allowing yourself to hit a wall even in those zones, so that you didn't know you could have more, allow things to grow in a different way. Even though there's so much work to be done and you've done a lot of it, there's also this growth that's happening. So in allowing yourself to take things slowly, live more externally, those things kind of get taken care of, because then you can live through this experience more. And that's very heavy Virgo. That's what you're going to gain insight about come Virgo season. So these Virgo placements are really good for you in terms of how smoothly, even though it feels can feel very different, confusing, or just uncomfortable, but how very smoothly things can thread sometimes. That you have this way of being in a place, so maybe even in a group setting, maybe you do just like have this group setting or do something in terms of even just being out more this month, that when you're out, you still have this part of you that's alone, and you still have this part of you that, and I don't know if I said this earlier, but I'm going to repeat myself, that some people don't see. They might see it in your outfits depending on what you wear, because sometimes Aquarius can be super funky, but mainly this part of you, this really quirky, weird, Martian, unique, extremely unique part of you doesn't come out unless like you let people see that, especially through conversation, where then they're like, oh, I want to know more, like what, this is so cool. Like, I wasn't, not that they weren't expecting, it just wasn't an initial thought. So then, because there could be those people who like, yeah, they dress funky, they're super cool, but then when you talk to them, you're just kind of like, things lay flat. And like, I know how you can be, and you may feel that sometimes, but you choose that. Like, you choose like, okay, I don't really want to, talk to these people, or like, I know. And so now you're just like open, and you're just having this very much time in the sun, but it's easy. And with this ease allows this, maybe the structure and this insight to where you've wanted to hold on to the place that you're in, because you were comfortable being and seeing and experiencing life from that place. But yet now this is opening up so much more. So like, why? And it's not like you were afraid. It wasn't that you weren't. Yes, of course, when you're ready, these things happen. So maybe you weren't ready. Although I just think it's just this perfect time where you're finally like ready to get outside of yourself more and just be outside. Be outside in the ways where you can then receive more. There's quite a few cards that fell out. You can receive more love, more thought, putting more effort into the way that you come across to others, so that if you are someone that needs to connect with people for business, or just this simple act of connecting with people, there's so much more there. You have so much more to give in these situations, and therefore you have also more to receive in these situations. if there is a Virgo in your life, they're coming across very strong. And they may have an offering for you, which is very different than maybe what you're used to, but it helps break away and free you from certain constraints that maybe you've had in your mind, or certain presumptions you've had in your mind about this person. So just don't judge this person right off the bat. It could be really good. So either way, you're going to keep receiving offers because you're allowing yourself to stand out in the light and gain this surge of energy toward your purpose even more, towards, even if the purpose is to become very stable within yourself in the ways that feel well-rounded. Kind of what we talked about in the beginning is like there's this well-rounded feel to you, especially when you understand the process in which you're going. So it's like you're deciding to go to college and you know what you're going for and you're really sure about it. So you know that this process is going to be somewhat like this, and then the in-betweens will show its face. That's becoming very solid to you now. So you can rest in that. Now it's about this surgence of passion and life just constantly playing with you, like with that this month. It's this constant play with, okay, like this is what's lighting you up, let's do that, let's do this. And this month will feel like a fulfilling summer for you, especially if you're experiencing summer right now and depending on where you are. Because what Cancer season did, and I'll show you more when we look at the cards, is it showed you where those parts of you, those unique parts that you just don't let out free all the time, need to be let out free. Like, people want to see them, you want to see them. It's that part of you that sometimes like you save or something, or you just don't, I don't know, you don't express it, but it's like you seem to really enjoy that side of yourself. So like, why isn't it more available? Well, you're allowing it to be more valuable to you. So it can become more available to you and more available to others. The Leo Cancer shift for you actually was really good. Cancer season may have brought up things that weren't maybe worth your time or worth your energy, and allowed you to see and give like recollection to the past. I wouldn't say last month was crazy for you. It just might have been, you may have felt like overly heightened sense of, or sensory, your senses, because when the water touches on your heightened senses, it just gives it that extra like, oof. Okay, I feel that a little bit. It's tipping. So for you, it was just managing the heights, the highs and the lows, and then letting the in-betweens just be what they were, so that this month you can pay attention to what was important about those highs and lows, what was important for you to understand through this series that you're going through this transition. So, and if you're someone who is partnered and in love, it becomes more rich this summer, through the season of Cancer, Leo, Virgo. There's a richness, because like those three signs are coming up extremely strong. There's this richness and there's this fortitude and this very beautiful fertile ground that you've begun to lay out even more. So even though it may feel like you're just right at the beginning of certain things, just know that you can continue to do it in this way, which is so nurturing and so fulfilling. Or this month you can get burnt out by your own inner working and getting too caught up in what you're not being passionate about, instead of allowing yourself the freedom to find it and or allow it to even come to you. So those moments of quiet, which you'll have, those stillness, and that like Mars and Venus both being in Virgo, where things that will maybe crumble it's because you're being given exactly what you need for those things to be crumble, and you're in those places where, and I do, for some of you, think it's just little parts of what you value, little parts of the way you think. It has nothing to do with, that's more the internal world that's going, like your external world receiving the connections and these opportunities, and feeling the strength to show up to all of these allows those doubts, those fears, or those little insecurities, or those things that pop up along the way to kind of crumble. And you realize that having control over that, or that kind of control, actually isn't necessary for this month. That comes in handy at some times, but Leo season like wants you to play in it. That's all I can really feel for that. So this month is joy for you. This month is passion for you. And I am stoked for you. And you're not overlooked. And I love you. All the information to work with me one-on-one is below. You can donate to me if you'd like, to the channel. That will be below. And again, the extended readings and more to come on Patreon. And we'll look at the cards. Okay, Aquarius, I'll see you next month. Hi, Aquarius. This is the best shot I could get. So this is you coming in with a lot of power. And recognizing that this month, something I didn't mention a lot about in the beginning, is this play with control as well. That Knight of Wands in reverse next to the Queen of Wands is like, you'll only have so much control of this, and that's what you need to be aware of, to not get you stuck in your head to think that it's your fault or that you could control it, because Leo is similar. You're both fixed signs, and it's really important for you to understand that the strength lies in having flexibility and compassion, and realizing that things will change. The more relaxed that you are, the more that you hang out in this hangman energy, the easier it will be for you to understand what 4 to 4, what is not only held on to in thought, but in your body. And like a Virgo, like I said in the beginning, this change, maybe even in your body, some of you, this will be specifically geared towards your physical well-being, that you'll finally see what it is that maybe has been, you felt off about for a little bit. And these Virgo placements in Mars and Venus, and then Mercury towards Virgo season, it really does help us see like where in our body things need to be healed, and the mutable earth wants to change, and it can change rather drastically. And that's what seems like it's going to happen, is like, okay, once this thing is it's very clear that this is the thing, then the antidote comes right away, and it doesn't waste any time to bring it to you. And that could be a conversation that you have with yourself, or with someone. It could be a Virgo, or just a very healing conversation in this, bringing up this awareness that you need to see in yourself, because there's so much, you have so much like untapped potential to use this month. So like that's kind of what is possible for you, that the more that you clear these up, the more energy you're going to have to see things through, even things that you didn't think were possible. There's a lot of luck that comes around for you, as long as it's grounded in what you know you want to do, in your purpose and your path, and you see the value in it. It's about you seeing the value in everything that has transpired as well, because that's only going to help you further this, I don't know, lack of a better word, conquest, and also getting that attention for it too. You'll feel you don't know what it's like to feel like a Leo, but you'll feel this essence and this strong surge of Leo energy that makes you feel somewhat like a Leo. So that's why I say like, just be a little cautious about how you're using your energy, especially in the beginning of the season, because you could easily burn out. Because when you're out and you're finally feeling like being out, you know, you're going to attract people maybe who don't just, you know what's worth your energy. And it's really important not to doubt that, basically, is what I'm going to say. That's the best way to put that. And if there is a Leo in your life, again, that you're noticing that they might be feeling the same way that you are, you might have that conversation with them. It might be something that comes up through that conversation that makes both of you realize, or something that hits you even days later. Because it's almost like that communication. So Mars from Leo to Virgo, that communication within your body, it will hit you in the place, meaning like you'll become very aware of a part of your body that really needs your attention. So for some of you, there will be health issues to be aware of this month, but it seems like a resolving of long-term health issues, or ones that just like spark up. And just know it's most likely your stress levels, and you might just be feeling like a lot of forward motion, and you're a sign that's more prone to anxiety. So it's important to ground yourself this month with being like logical, but also allowing yourself the freedom to roam and to be free, and to especially be around people who reflect that nature that you're coming into more of, and who also want to be a part of that kind of growth, because that's what's going to become apparent to you. You'll see what has been brought up from Cancer season is revealing itself in Leo season in a way where it's adding value to who you are and the weight in which you carry yourself, if that makes sense. If there is a Leo or a Cancer in your life, they become, if you didn't feel like you weren't sure of their friendship or that relationship, it becomes more stable, and it becomes clear to you what has been going on. It was a mixture of maybe you and that there's like a miscommunication, or just equally or individually going through growing processes. And now there's more understanding from both sides, most likely. So yeah, it's a beautiful month for you, I'd say, and I love it. I'm going to go right into the extended reading, which is where I clarify more of this. All the information to work with me, donate below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next month, Aquarius. I love you.